So the first part is basically the integration methods or integration techniques that are important. So certain formulas are there which are like straightforward in the data booklet. So I'm just going to write some of them. The derivative of sine x we know is cos x. So integration of cos x is integration of sine x is negative cos x. Then you have cos x, integration is sine x, integration of e raised to x is e raised to x. Integration of 1 upon x is ln of absolute value of x. Remember this. A lot of time we make a mistake of just writing ln x. So it is ln of x, absolute value of x. Then you've got integration of a raised to x. So I'm just going to attach integral. I'm not writing dx everywhere. It is understood. It is going to be a raised to x upon ln a plus c is not being written everywhere. That is understood. Then we have got some of the what I would say they're like important ones. Integration of sec square x. Integration of sec square x is tan x. Integration of cosec square x is negative cot x. A lot of times I think people get confused with the integral of like tan x as sec square x and all. So please remember, integration of tan x is ln of sec x plus c. So these, generally you need to prove this integration of tan x is ln sec x. But more important ones are these, I would say. Integration of sine inverse x. It is, integration of 1 upon root 1 minus x, a square minus x square is sine inverse x over a. Integration of 1 upon a squared plus x squared is 1 upon a tan inverse x upon a. So don't forget the difference that there is no 1 upon a in the sine inverse function. Okay, and remember that these formulas, wherever you replace x with a linear function. Now, what do I mean by x with a linear function is, suppose if I have got, instead of sine x, if I'm integrating sine of ax plus b, integration of sine of ax plus b, you're going to write down negative cos of ax plus b upon coefficient of x, which is a. Okay, so anywhere you notice that is applicable. So whenever you're integrating a function, basically, let's say integration of, let's say, cos of ax plus b. Now, if I'm integrating e raised to ax plus b, integration of e raised to ax plus b is going to be e raised to ax plus b upon a. So e raised to x plus b upon a. If I'm integrating, let's say, any function like 1 upon x, 1 upon ax plus b, it is going to be ln ax plus b upon a. So don't forget to divide by coefficient of x. This is like the basic recollection of your knowledge. Okay, you must remember these stuff. Some of the ones the students get most confused are in these categories. Okay, so what are those kind of questions that confuse you guys? Okay, so let me just kind of first give certain examples. Now, let's say if I'm integrating sec squared of pi x plus 4 dx. Now, integration of sec squared pi x plus 4, obviously, if you link up, this is this formula. So that's sec squared x is tan, so it will become tan pi x plus 4 and divided by coefficient of x plus pi. So remember that pi is like any other number. So pi x plus 4, when you do, it is like any linear function. Similarly, if you are applying your, let's say, power function, like for example, if I've got integration of root of 3x plus 4 dx. So if I've got integration of root 3x plus 4 dx, basically it is 3x plus 4 to the power of negative half. First you're going to do. So this is of the form ax plus b to the power n dx, which is ax plus b to the power n plus 1 upon n plus 1 and divided by coefficient of x, which is a. So this part also is going to be 3x plus 4 to the power of half and divided by half and then into the coefficient of x, which is 3. So this is just, these are all I would say the basic standard level questions, but I would focus a little bit more on these ones, the ones that are assessed here. The integration of 1 upon root a square minus x square, how do you do? Integration of 1 upon a square plus x square, how do you do? Okay, so let's take certain examples on these. The first one is, I'm going to take, let's say 1 upon a squared plus x squared formula. A lot of times students get confused over here. So this is 1 upon a tan inverse of x upon a. So 1 upon a tan inverse of x upon a. So now, for example, if I'm integrating 1 upon 4 plus x squared dx. So if I'm integrating 1 upon 4 plus x squared dx, now out here, what's the a value if you look at? Is 2. So it become 1 upon 2 tan inverse x upon 2 straight away. Now, if any place where you've been given something like this, let's say 1 upon 3x plus 5, the whole squared plus 8. Now here, it seems like, it's a little different, like this example and this example, they seem a little different. But still, if you see it's a square plus x square format, here x has been replaced by another linear function.
Yeah.
So when you do that, it is 1 upon root 8, that's your a value. Then you do tan inverse of 3x plus 5 upon a, which is 1 upon root 2. So 1 upon root 2 into root 1 upon root 8. Okay, and whole thing divided by coefficient of x, which is 3. So this is 1 upon a tan inverse x upon a. And since this is not like any ordinary kind of question where x has been replaced by another linear function, so you just don't forget to divide by this 3. So you can write 3 here in the denominator, and this is basically your final answer. So 1 upon 3 root 8 tan inverse 3x plus 5 on 1 upon root 8. Sometimes you might need to do the perfect square. You might have to do the perfect square. So what is basically the perfect square technique out here? If I look at the previous part here, so let's say if I have to integrate, let's say 1 upon x squared plus 6x plus let's say 14. 1 upon x squared plus 6x plus 14. Can we try doing this? Integrating 1 upon x squared plus 6x plus 14, basically, you can clearly see that there is no set format here. It doesn't seem like any formula straight away applicable. So what I can do is I can just straight away make the perfect square firstly for the denominator. So it'll become x squared plus 6x plus now 9 minus 9 plus 14. I'm assuming that you know perfect square to on your fingertips. So this is going to be 1 over x plus 3 the whole square, and 9 minus 4, 14 minus 9 is 5. So now you can see this structure is of the format a squared plus x squared format. So now this becomes 1 upon root 5 tan inverse of x plus 3 upon root 5. So that's your tan inverse of x upon a, and here the coefficient of x is 1.
Yeah.
So this is straight away the integration basically. So you should know the different techniques, like in which part, like okay, now here I'm not able to factorize it. Okay, so I can't do partial fraction. So what is the best that suits? Maybe perfect square, and then you get the answer. So lots of times they'll not tell you the exact method where you have to think right from scratch. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're mindful about these kind of questions. The next part is the partial fraction. Okay, now one of the basic example that I would like to give is, let's say if you have to integrate 1 upon x squared plus 4x and plus 3. Very basic question. 1 upon x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now this looks of pretty similar level that we just did. Also, one of the integral that I would say is very unique is integrating 1 upon a squared minus x squared. Now these two Like lots of mistakes people do. Firstly, understanding different methods, what methods
Yeah.
here like people do with substitution. But I would say that in questions where you see your denominator is factorizable, now in certain cases you will notice that if, for example, you have something like this, let's say x squared plus 4x plus 3 upon x minus 1 x minus 2. Okay, now here you can see that your degree of numerator and degree of denominator is the same. So you need to do one extra step, which I'm going to tell. And these ones where at least you see your denominator is factorizable and there is a degree of numerator is smaller than degree of denominator. Like for example, here it's a constant and degree of denominator is quadratic. So if degree of numerator and degree of denominator is having that kind of difference, you can apply partial fraction. And when I say partial fraction, you should be expert at it. I'm not going to touch base on partial fraction in detail. I'm assuming that you know that. So out here, first thing what we are going to do is factorize the denominator. And if you factorize, it is 1 upon x plus 1 and x plus 3. So that's your factorization of this. Now this part is going to be a over x plus 1 plus b over x plus 3. So that's your expression. I'm just going to remove the integral currently. Now once you got this step, 1 upon x plus 1, x plus 3. Now after this step, you solve for a. So you're going to solve for a, basically like cross multiplied out here. Now what I'm going to do is 1 equals to a times x plus 3 plus b times you get x plus 1. The reason is that when you do cross multiply, this part x plus 1 will get cancelled and from the other part x plus 3 get cancelled. Now to get the value of a and b, you have multiple ways to do it. So you can take, let's say, x as negative 3 and you'll get 1 equals to a times 0 plus b times negative 3 plus 1. So negative 3 plus 1, that comes to be 1 equals to negative 2b. So b equals to negative half. So once you got b as negative half, similarly, we'll plug in x as negative 1. So if you plug in x as negative 1, we are going to get 1 equals to a times negative 1 plus 3 plus b times 0. You get a as 1 half. So once you express this as a partial fraction, now you can do the integration. So let's say you can do this by 1 upon 2, a is 1 upon 2, integration of 1 upon 2, x plus 1, and b is negative half. So let's say I separate them 1 upon x plus 3. This becomes 1 upon 2 ln x plus 1 minus 1 upon 2 ln x plus 3 and plus. So that's your basic integration using partial fraction. You guys have to do the next one. Can we try doing that next question? If you didn't get, please let me know. So the first thing is that here what you're going to do is integrate this. Before that, you would write down this as a partial fraction. Integration of a square minus x square can't be done directly. So you're going to take this as 1 upon a minus x and a plus x as a factor. So take this as a upon a minus x plus b upon a plus x. Okay, so now what we do is you take cross multiply. So 1 equals to a times a plus x plus b times a minus x. You take x as negative a, you get 1 equals to a times 0 plus b times like in 2a. So b is basically 1 over 2. Yeah. Now, if you plug in, let's say x as negative positive a, you get 1 equals to a times a plus a plus b times 0. So you get a equals to 1 upon 2a. So for both the values of a and values of b, we got 1 upon 2a. So the same thing basically can be written as 1 upon 2a integration of 1 upon a minus x plus 1 upon a plus x. I took 1 upon 2a common because a and b They are part of A and B, so that's 1 upon 2A. And integration, this is ln A minus x on negative 1 plus ln A plus A. So that's the integration of this part. If you further want to write down, I can write this 1 upon 2A ln A plus x upon A minus x. By ln A minus ln B can be written as ln A by B. So that's your integration. And of course, don't forget to write down plus C out here. Now, specifically in your syllabus, only these are the kind of questions given by IBs, like for AHL course. But there are certain integrals like these kind of questions where there can be a little bit of extra kind of hard work in order to integrate this question. So first, let's check how to do this kind of question. So 3x squared plus 4x plus 3 upon x minus 1 x minus 2. In this case, you can't express it as the partial fraction directly. So first you long divide by x squared minus 3x plus 2, because if you open this bracket, you get x squared minus 3x plus 2. So now you take 3 here, so it becomes 3x squared minus 9x and plus 6. This cancel, plus minus, this is gone. This will become 13x and 3 minus 6 is minus 3. And we can't divide further. So this can be written as, remember that any polynomial over divider can be written as quotient, that's q of x, plus remainder over divider. Any quotient basically can be written as, divider format can be written as quotient plus remainder over divider. Now the quotient is basically here 3, remainder is 13x minus 3, and divider is x minus 1, x minus 2. And now you're expected to do partial fraction on this part. So do the partial fraction on this part and let's see what do we get. So let's do the partial fraction now. So just while doing the partial fraction, so 13x minus 3 upon x minus 1, first split it as obviously a over x minus 1, b over x minus 2. Cross multiply, so you get 13x minus 3 equals to x minus 1, x minus 1 get cancelled, so you get this, plus b times x minus 1. Now to get the value of b, you plug x as 2. So the intention is to make one of the brackets 0. So you get 13 times 2 minus 3, so you get 23, and this a times 0, and you get b times 1. So that's why I got b as 23, and you similarly plug x as 1 both the sides, you get the value of a as negative 10. Now, so what we get is basically this can be integrated, written as 3 plus a is negative 10, so negative 10 upon a is basically so x minus 1 plus b is 23 upon x minus 2. Now you integrate this, you'll get final integral as 3x minus 10 ln x minus 1 minus 10 ln x minus 1 plus 23 ln x minus 2 plus c. That's your basically the integration of this. So you can see that sometimes the question can be a little off track, sometimes question can, but you did not require any additional skill for this. So IB has freedom to ask certain questions. So please be ready with these kind of questions where you might have to do a little bit of extra, like, working compared to those traditional ones. So this is about the integration using partial fraction. So as far as the substitution is concerned, now we have got two techniques that we need to remember here. The first one is, very simple. We all know that if you're doing the derivative of ln of some function, it is 1 upon that function into f dash x. So ln of that function is 1 upon that function times f dash x. So when you're integrating, let's say f dash x upon fx, that is bound to give you the answer as ln fx. So plus c. Now remember, this is like a shortcut which is strongly used under differential equation. A lot of times people waste time because they don't know this technique. So like for example, if you're having integration of 2x upon x squared plus 4, you shouldn't take even a second to write down the integration of this. Because if you look at x squared plus 4 is your function in denominator. So the moral of the story here is that if you got a function in denominator and its exact derivative is in numerator, then the integration of that is straight away ln fx. So same way here, you see, if you got a function in denominator and its exact derivative is in numerator. So if you have x square plus 4, anybody knows that derivative of that function is 2x. So that is nothing but if I integrate this, I will straight away get as ln x square plus 4 plus. Now, if I go by normal substitution logic, you'll get the answer, but you'll waste your time. Yeah. So whenever you're integrating, let's say, a function in the format of f dash x upon fx, it is ln fx plus c. Now, sometimes your question might not have that kind of, straight away visibility. Let's say I have x upon x square upon x cube plus 5. Now, you notice that here, that x cube plus 5 derivative, exact derivative, I don't have a numerator. But if you use a common sense, x cube plus 5 derivative is 3x square. And at least I have x square here. So what I will do is, I'm just going to multiply by 3. And since I multiplied by 3, I'm to keep the equation neutral, I'm going to divide outside by 3. So this answer basically becomes 1/3 of ln x cube plus 5. So you can see that your equation, if you knew this technique, f dash x upon fx technique, your answer is 1/3 of ln x cube plus 5 plus c. So remember this, integration of f dash x upon fx is always ln fx plus c. Now, before I go on to the substitution, what I would like you to know is certain integration of trig functions. Now, lot of time what happens, students face challenges integrating sine square x, integration of cos square x, integration of sine square 2x, integration of cos square x by 4 plus, dx. I'm going to do all of these questions just to assure that we are knowing the basic structure of the substitution part. So for these questions, remember the formula. Cos 2 theta is 2 cos square theta minus 1, or it is 1 minus 2 times square theta. So if you make cos square theta the subject, I get 1 plus cos 2 theta divided by 2. And if you make sine square theta the subject, I get 1 minus cos 2 theta divided by 2. So if you don't know this, you will straight away lose at least 8 to 10 marks in your exam for 100%. This thing. So cos square theta, whenever you're integrating, you cannot integrate directly. So in place of cos square theta, you can replace that with 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2. And if you are integrating sine square theta, you can replace that with 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. So when you're integrating this, you will have basically integration of sine square will become 1 minus cos 2 theta divided by 2. And so 1/2 integration of 1 is nothing but theta minus cos 2 theta is sine 2 theta divided by 2. Don't forget to divide by the coefficient of x. So cos 2 theta gets sine 2 theta divided by 2. Now similarly, when you're integrating cos square theta, I'm going to rewrite this as 1 plus cos 2 theta divided by 2, and 1/2 take it outside. So your integration of 1 now will be theta. So I'm not going to write down any more integral because I'm integrating it. Cos 2 theta is sine 2 theta divided by 2. And so that's the integration of cos square theta. Now when you come to integration of sine square 2 theta, so see, if you had sine square x here, sine square theta, you did 1 minus cos 2 theta. So if you have sine square 2 theta here, this is gonna just become 1 minus cos 4 theta divided by 2. So just remember that this theta, you just double it. So whatever the angle you have got, just double that in order to get the answer. So sine square 2 theta can be written as 1 minus cos 4 theta divided by 2. So integration of this will be half. One integration is theta minus sine 4 theta divided by 4 plus 3. So this is the integration of this. Now cos square x by 4, I would like you guys to attempt firstly on your own and then we'll check the answer. So here when you're integrating, see now if you got cos square x, cos square theta, Cos square theta is 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2. So if you got cos square theta by 4 or x by 4, it will be 1 plus cos 2 times theta by 4 upon 2, which is nothing but 1 plus cos theta by 2 divided by 2. So you have to basically integrate this step now. So when you're integrating this, you can take half outside. Integration of 1 is theta. Cos theta by 2 integration will be sin theta by 2 divided by half. That's it. And plus theta. So that's the integration of cos square x by 4. So these needs to be kept in mind very carefully and make sure that you know how to do these. For each and every question, so I'm just explaining each and every question which we have, and it's like a summary of the entire integration. So put your focus here. If you're sleepy, wake up. Just make sure that understand each of these questions. You'll be clear with all the techniques. Okay. And after this, I'm going to give you some time break. Now, first one is 3x square e raised to x cube plus 4. Now, of course, here I can't say directly, you will be able to gauge what you're supposed to do. But since there are a lot of excess terms, you're bound to use like integration by substitution. Generally, I'm going to make the substitution. Let's say u as x cube plus 4. Now, why I'm doing it? Because generally you make the substitution whose derivative is existing as a multiplier. Now, for example, x cube plus 4 derivative is 3x square. So at least I can see 3x square here. Similarly, after this step is you need to get rid of this dx. So firstly, I'm going to do du by dx, which is 3x squared. Now make dx a subject, which is du upon 3x squared. So I'm just going to put it out here. In place of dx, you're going to put du upon 3x squared. So this becomes 3x squared e raised to u du over 3x squared. 3x square cancel, and as a result, you get integration of e to the power u du. You integrate that, you get e to the power u itself, and plus c, you get e to the power of x cube plus 4 plus e to the power of x cube plus 4 plus c.
So same I'm also getting when I'm substituting.
So next part is when we take x as, let's say, root of 4 minus x square. Now here the substitution is a little different. Now I'm just making a summary of the substitutions which you got to remember. Now let's say if it is a trig substitution, the trig substitution is basically if you got anything of this format, if it is root of a square minus x square format, then you take either x as a sine theta or a cos theta. Anything is fine. If it is root of a square plus x square format, then you take x is a tan theta or a cot theta. And only logic that I'm using here is your trig identities, nothing different. Because I know that if you have got 1 minus sine square theta, let's say within the root. Now, something like this can be simplified to cos square theta, and then your root disappears and you can get away with the square root basically.
Yeah.
So now here, when I'm integrating, let's say root of 4 minus x square. So integration of this is going to become, let's say I take x to sine theta. So dx by d theta, I'm going to first write down. So let's say replace dx by d theta is going to be 2 cos theta. Now, in place of dx, I'm going to put 2 cos theta d theta because it's very important. If your integration is now you're in terms of theta, your substitution should be in terms of proper, every variable should be in terms of theta. So here I'm going to put this theta in place of this dx, I'm going to put 2 cos theta d theta. So as a result of this, what we get is now if you notice that it will become 4 minus 4 sine square theta into 2 cos theta and d theta. If you simplify this, you're going to get integration of this will be root of 4 outside, 1 minus sine square theta, and into 2 cos theta d theta. This is going to become 2 root of sine square theta is 1 minus sine square theta is cos square theta. A root of that is cos theta. So it will become 2 times 2 sine theta cos theta, sorry, 2 cos theta times cos theta d theta, which is basically 4 integration of cos square theta d theta. So once you got 4 cos square in 4 times integration of cos square theta, now this is where we go back to those strict double angle formulas. So why I did the particular question. So I'm just gonna integrate now that part. So integration of, let's say we got 4 cos square theta d theta. 4 can be taken outside. Integration of cos square theta d theta. So 1 cos square theta can be written as 1 plus cos 2 theta divided by 2 d theta. By heart, you should remember that in place of cos square theta, I can put 1 plus cos 2 theta divided by 2. From where? We're using double angle. So this becomes 2, 1 plus cos 2 theta and d theta. So integration of 1 is theta, half I'm taking outside, and plus cos 2 theta is sine 2 theta divided by 2. So you get this as an integration, which is theta by 2 plus 1/4 of, sorry, this is not half, here it is 2, because, yeah, so 2 theta basically, the 2 theta plus sine 2 theta. So we got till here. Now after this is the next task, which is like substituting back what's your previous value, like what is your exact answer going to look like. So now since I know sine theta is, so sine theta is x by 2 from here. So if I make a triangle from here, it means that theta is first in sine inverse x upon 2. So it will become 2 times sine inverse x upon 2. And sine 2 theta can be written as 2 sine theta cos theta. The 2 sine theta cos theta using double angle formula. Now here, in place of sine theta, I can put, so this is theta x and 2, because opposite is x and hypotenuse is 2. So this part will become root of 4 minus x square. So basically this is going to become, if I can rewrite it, this is going to become plus, in place of sine theta, I'm going to put x upon 2, and in place of cos theta, I'm going to put root 4 minus x square upon 2. So this 2 and 2 cancels, and as a result, my final answer is 2 sine inverse x upon 2 plus x root of 4 minus x square upon 2 plus c. This question generally is assessed for 8 to 9 marks. So you must know this kind of substitution. You must understand the trick substitution, do more practice, and make sure you're crystal clear with the fundamentals. So our next question is, let's say if I have to integrate ln x the whole cube upon x. It's one of the very simple ones. So let's say when you're integrating ln x the whole cube upon x dx. So let's say take u as ln x. So du by dx is gonna be 1 upon x. Firstly, why I'm taking ln x as substitution is because I can see 1 upon x as a multiplier, which is derivative of ln x. So you should always, whenever it is like standard level substitution, whatever substitution you are taking or whatever substitution you are doing, its derivative should be as a multiplier, at least that variable. Like for example, ln x ka derivative is 1 upon x here. So dx is gonna be equals to x du. So you plug out here, so it will become integration of u cube over x times x du. Then x and x get cancelled, and integration of u cube du is going to be u raised to 4 upon 4 plus 3, which is going to be ln x raised to 4 upon 4 plus 3. So that's the integration of this part. Is like more of the standard level type question. Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that this is well understood. So let's just move to the next question now. The next question is, you have to integrate sine inverse of x using integration by parts. So when you're integrating by parts, it's worth like recollecting the formula. Integration of parts is you generally do when you have product of two functions, and the formula is ub dash dx can be written as ub minus integral of b u dash dx. This is the formula for integration by parts. Integration of uv dash is ub minus integration of vu dash. Now, particularly like here, I have taken sine inverse x because a lot of times student mess up this. They just write down the answer as 1 upon root 1 minus x square. So just be careful that that's the derivative, not the integration. So how do we recognize which is u and which is v? So if you can remember, I have taught like kind of Eilert rule or Liat rule, whichever you can remember. I stand for inverse function like sine inverse, cos inverse, tan inverse. L stand for log like ln x or log x. A stand for algebra like any number, any power of polynomial is called as A. T stand for trigo. E stand for exponent like e raised to x or a raised to x. So anything of this format, whichever comes first, that becomes your u. Now, when I'm integrating sine inverse x, now firstly, I cannot see the function. I can't see there are two different functions. So what is it out here that we need to understand is this is 1 times sine inverse x. Now, as you can see here, one that or any number that is written is coming under algebra. So first, this is algebra, and this is inverse function, so I. And you can see I comes always the first. So since I is coming first, that becomes my u. So u is basically sine inverse x. So u is sine inverse x. So du by dx is gonna be because the what all I need is I have got u, I need u dash. So I'm gonna first make those values. So u dash is gonna be 1 upon root 1 minus x squared. Once we got that, now since 1 is v dash is 1, v is going to be x, integration of 1 is x. So v is x. Now you put in the formula. So formula is ub, so u times v, that's x sine inverse x, minus integration of v u dash, x upon root 1 minus x square dx. So once we got till here, our next step is to actually integrate this part. Integration of x upon root 1 minus x square, because once again, a lot of students surrender here. X upon root 1 minus x square, if I give you a simple question as x upon root 1 minus x square, you can do simply by, let's say, substitution. Let u be 1 minus x square, and du by dx is negative 2x. So here what I'm going to do is dx is basically du upon negative 2x, that goes out here. So as a result, what we get is x upon root u into du upon negative 2x, x and x cancel. You get negative half outside, integration of u raised to negative half du, which is negative half u raised to half divided by half, which goes as negative root u plus. So that's your integration of this part at least. And so when I'm putting this in place of x sine inverse x minus now root u, so it's like basically I'm going to take is minus of root u, and u is nothing but 1 minus x. So it'll be 1 minus x square dx, and I mean not dx, then it will become x sine inverse x plus root 1 minus x square and plus. So that's your integration by parts for this particular question. So sine inverse x, lots of times you will be not able to figure out that you got to multiply with 1. So guys, just make sure that you're keeping your eye on that, okay, any function that is like some suppose ln x, log x, and all those kind of functions, they give you these kind of questions. So make sure that you're understanding that you have to take 1 as a multiplier, and then you write this as algebra. Other one become inverse function because sine inverse. Just after that is plugging in the formula and getting the right strategy to do the calculation. So this is about the integration of sine inverse x. So let's say ln x the whole square. First you take u as ln x the whole square and v dash as 1. So I can write this as 1 times ln x the whole square. So your v is basically x and u dash is 2 ln x times 1 upon x. So when you're integrating this now, it's going to become basically x times ln x the whole squared minus integration of u dash v. So 2 ln x times 1 upon x into x dx. This x and x cancel. So you get basically x ln x the whole squared minus 2 ln x dx. Now, once again, here the trouble is that you don't have the integration of ln x. So when you do the integration of ln x, you do ln x can be written as ln x times 1. So this can be written as x ln x minus integration of x into 1 upon x. So this cancels and we get x ln x minus x. So this is by parts again. So parts within parts. So this becomes x ln x the whole squared minus 2 times x ln x minus x. So this becomes x ln x the whole squared minus 2 x ln x plus 2x and plus. That's the integration of ln x the whole squared by parts. So whenever you have a question like this, for example, 3 upon 8 sine square x plus 5, if any question is of the format, basically 1 upon a sine square theta plus b cos square theta, generally try to convert this in terms of tan. And so since here they have given already the let by taking x as tan theta, I mean u as tan x, it simply means that I have to do some adjustment here in order to get the tan term. So firstly, you can see that there is no tan term out here. So what we do out here is that you divide numerator and denominator both by cos square x. So if I do that, I get 3 upon cos square x divided by 8 sine square x plus 5 upon cos square x. You'll get 3 sec squared x upon 8 tan square x plus 5 sec square x. I'm sure that you would have understood how I got this. So since 3 upon cos square x is basically 3 sec square x straight away, that's how I've written out here. And I isolated each term. So 8 sine square x upon cos square x, 8 tan square, and 5 upon cos square x is 5 sec square x. So now after this, what we have is, still we can see a unnecessary term here, which is sec square x. So let's say if I take 1 plus tan square x, that can be written as sec square x. So in place of sec square x, I'm going to put 1 plus tan square. So it will become 3 sec squared x upon 8 tan square x as it is, and plus 5 1 plus tan square x. So this is going to be 3 sec squared x upon 8 tan square x plus 5 tan square x and plus 5. So this is going to reduce to 3 sec square x upon 13 tan square x plus 5 dx. Now, now when you're integrating this, let's say this step where it is 3 sec square x upon 13 tan square x plus 1 plus 5. So 3 sec squared x upon 15 tan square x plus 5. Sorry, 13 tan square x plus 5. Now I'll take, let u be tan x. So u be tan x. So du by dx is going to be sec squared x. Sec squared x here. So in place of dx, I'm going to put du upon sec squared x. So in place of this, you're going to put that. So this part is integration of 3 sec squared x upon 13 u square plus 5 into du upon sec squared x. Sec square get cancelled, and what we get is, as a result, you get 3 du upon 13 u square plus 5. Now, once again, this reduces to that format which is tan inverse x format. So take 13 commons first. So it becomes 3 by 13 outside. Integration of du upon u square plus 5 by 13. So here you can see a is the root of 5 by 13. So integration of this is going to be 3 upon 13 as it is into 1 upon a. So 1 upon root of 5 by 13 tan inverse x upon a. So tan inverse u upon 5 root 5 by 13. So this will become root 13 goes up. So root 13 upon root 5 times 3 by 13 tan inverse root 13 by 5u. Now in place of u, put tan x will become 3 root 13 upon 13 root 5 tan inverse of root 13 by 5 tan x. So that's the integration of this particular part. So I hope it is understood. Yeah, so the first method that we have is referred as separable variable technique. Okay, so now for example, let's say if I have got dy by dx is y upon x. Or let's say for that matter, I've got dy by dx equals to e raised to y x squared. So how do we kind of solve these equations? Now here you see that they are involving two variables, so it's not a single variable problem. So firstly, you're going to write down dy by y equals to dx upon x. So you're going to take this thing here and divide y to the other side. So you're separating a variable and then you're integrating both the sides. So this is referred as separable variable technique. Now, where you take y, all the y's one side, all the x one side, make sure that dy doesn't go to denominator or dx doesn't go to denominator. It shouldn't be x upon dx. It should be dx upon x. So now you integrate both the sides. So this is going to be ln y equals to ln x plus c. Now, constant you put only one side, don't put both the sides. So if I put constant as plus c, it will be ln. I can write down this as ln y minus ln x equals to constant. So this can be written as ln y over x equals to constant. So y over x equals to e to the power constant, which I can take up another constant, a. So we basically get y equals to ax. So this differential equation that you've got, this part which you have, is basically the solution of this is a straight line. You can see y equals to ax is a straight line. So this is how you kind of solve the separate, you like isolate the variable and solve that particular equation. Our next part is dy by dx is e to the power y x squared. So here also you're going to separate the variables like dy upon e raised to y is x squared times dx. You integrate both the sides now. Now e to the power, first you take it as e to the power negative y dy and equal to integration of x square, which is x cubed by 3 and plus c. And so e to the power negative y integral is e to the power negative y upon negative 1 equals to x cubed by 3 plus c. and then you can solve for y with the given particular condition. So this is about like separable of variable techniques. Sometimes you might encounter partial fractions technique. Sometimes you might require substitution techniques. So let us take 2-3 examples where we have the particular part as like embedded in the problem. So let's say it is given that dy by dx, let's say x minus 1, x plus 2 dy by dx equals to 4y equals to 4y, and you have to solve for what's your y equals to, like solve for, and like there'll be a certain initial condition also to solve for what. So let's try this question first. Let's do the first one. So here, firstly, you isolate the variables. So I take y to this side. So dy upon y equals to 4 dx upon x minus 1 x plus 2. So now before I go on to integrate it, you're going to first write down, you can see that if I go on to do this part, you can see that there is a partial fraction involved out here. So you're going to express firstly 4 upon x minus 1 x plus 2 equals to a upon x minus 1 plus b upon x plus 2. So 4 equals to a times x plus 2 plus b times x minus 1. Take x as 1 here, so you'll get 4 equals to a times 3. So a equals to 4 by 3. Once you got a as 4 by 3, you can plug in x as negative 2. So 4 equals to b times negative 3 you get. So you get b as negative 4 by 3. Our next step is to put these values here. So if I take, let's say, this can be written as, I can take 4 by 3 common. So 4 by 3, 1 upon x minus 1, and plus b. So b is negative here, negative 4 by 3. So I put negative 1 upon x plus 2 dx. This becomes 4 upon 3 ln x minus 1 minus ln x plus 2 and plus. And of course, this side is ln y equals to. So yeah, so I mean, more or less, you have got the solution, and then you can play around in case if you have to make y the subject, if you have to solve for y, and that's how you do this kind of question. The second one is more straightforward. So you collect the dx terms one side, and the dy terms one side. Integrate both the sides. We get dx upon root 1 minus x square, which is sine inverse x equals to this will be sine inverse of y. I can put a plus p here, so I can put y is sine of sine inverse x plus. That's about the equation in this part. The last one is 2xy dy by dx is x square plus 4 dy. So 2x upon x square plus 4 dx equals to dy upon y. So now since you can see that this, if I integrate, this is what format f dash x upon fx format. So this is straight away you can write down ln x square plus 4 equals to ln y plus p. That's your integration out here.
Got it.
So these are the basic kind of separable variable techniques.